How are we doing on this Thursday? We're about to get started here in a minute. I know I logged on a little later than usual, but we're to talk about reflections today, guys. Reflections. Hey. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, wait for some other people to join in, and then we're gonna get started. Who's gonna join me today? Anybody? What's up, Rip? Beaming. All right, so today we're going to talk about reflections. And a lot of times when we talk about reflections, people can get mixed understandings about reflections. We're going to talk about basically how you see yourself in other people. And a lot of times when we look at other people, we don't know or realize that the things that we identify in other people are the things that we either identify within ourselves or we fail to identify them in ourselves, or that it's really there are things in our subconscious that get triggered based on what we see in people. And that goes for people that we first meet, people that we love and people that we care about, friends, and we see these things without seeing them sometimes. So our subconscious triggers things that allow us to identify and relate and feel some type of emotional connection that we like or something that we dislike. And that happens quite often than not. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So before I get started, while I wait for people to join in, hi Auntie. Is there anything that anyone has to say in regards to reflections in their opinion? How do you guys view reflections when we think about being mirrored or seeing ourselves in other people? Anybody? Somebody? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna start off with some points and questions, give you guys some food for thought. So we all have friends, loved ones, children, anyone that we want to always save from pain. Like we always have advice for people that we love or care about, and we tend to tell them, hey, you should do this or you shouldn't do that, or it'll probably make more sense or be better for you if you go this route instead of that route, right? And then what happens is when we try to save them from that pain, and we offer them this advice, we get upset or offended when they don't take that advice. And we have to wonder and question ourselves as to why we feel that way, why we get frustrated when the people that we care about don't listen, right? Because essentially, we're just trying to help them out. We're trying to give them advice because we kind of know what it is that they may be feeling or going through. But why do we feel that pain and frustration? Is there a lesson that we can learn in the process that they're going through, right? A lot of times we don't ask ourselves that because a lot of times we don't think about what it is that the other person or people are going through and why we feel the way we feel about what it is that they're dealing with. And a lot of times it's because subconsciously we either have felt that before, right? Or we are learning something in the process of what it is that they're going through, if that makes sense. So think about how many people that you've given advice to or that have given you advice, right? And sometimes you can tell and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can tell when someone's trying to give you advice because they've been there and they've done that, and they're able to give you that advice because they're able to see themselves in your position, and that's a reflection. They get that reflection from you based on what you're going through. And the same thing happens vice versa. If you are the one giving advice, and a lot of times we don't think about it that way, right? Why is it that we get so passionate and so frustrated or so involved in what it is the person that you're giving advice to, why you're feeling that, right? So again, I challenge you to think about if ever you have given advice and what it is and why it is you felt the way that you felt throughout the process, or if it's because that Nicole says it's because you care. Yes, it is because you care. And I'm going to give you some other examples because there's different ways that you can reflect, in different ways that you can kind of mirror yourself in other people or among other people, right? So yes, it's because you care, but let's go, for example, and Nicole, you can relate to this, and me, you, and Melita can relate, and I wish she was on right now. You have someone that you care about, and something that they do or says just irritates your entire soul, right? Like just irritates you, irritates you, irritates you. Let's say, for example, someone is rude to you, right? Or is constantly rude or always rude. And you're like, yo, why is this person rude? That joint pisses me off. Sorry, I probably shouldn't say that. Or it really upsets me. Hey Z, and you question yourself why. Why does it irritate you? Does it irritate you because you can actually see, or subconsciously you know that you are also that way and that's why it upsets you? Or let's flip that. Let's not think about it in a negative light, because it does apply in a negative light. Sometimes the negative things about a person that bothers you, it bothers you because either you have been that way before or you are that way and you just don't want that person to be that way towards you. But let's flip that. Let's talk about the good things that you see in people, whether you first meet them or whether you have known them all your life, or whether it's a loved one or a family member or anything of that nature. There are qualities that we see in people, right? And the reason why we can identify these things in people is because we either hope to have those same qualities or desire to have those same qualities, or it's something that you can relate to and you have those similar qualities in that person. So those are the things that cause you care because you love them. Soft-hearted. Yes. So the reason why is because the reflection that you see in that person of yourself are those qualities that you either look for or that you can relate to. Hey James, or hey Roscoe, or that you desire to have, or there are those negative qualities that you see in people that you don't want to have. But think about why you can identify those qualities in people, good, bad, or ugly. Think about it. It's really, if you think about what you see in that person and why you see these things in these people, it's because it's a reflection of you, and it can be a reflection on you in numerous ways. It can be a reflection on you because of the qualities that you see, that you like, that you dislike, that you have had, or sometimes you don't even realize that you have those same qualities. Or it could be, and I was going somewhere just now and I just lost my train of thought. Or it could be because these are qualities that subconsciously you know you have had before. And I don't know if I said that already because I kind of lost my train of thought there. So when you think about that and you think about how you see yourself in people and why you can relate to either people you first met or people that you love or people that you don't love, you try to correct the mistake you made in your circumstances by then giving advice. Yes. So the reflection that you see in others, especially people that you care about, you try to give them that advice because you have either been there or, like Nicole said and Nancy said, is because you care. But a lot of times, if you think deeper into it and you really think about and reflect on who you are and the characteristics of yourself, oftentimes the things that we see and the things that we're trying to prevent are the things that, again, like you said, that you've been through or that are deep down inside of you, and you don't realize that. You don't realize that the reason you get frustrated is not only because you care, but it's because you don't want them to feel what you have felt. But we fail to realize that we have to allow people to grow on their own, to experience things on our own. So instead of getting frustrated, I challenge you guys, and I have to do this for myself, is to just offer your counsel, offer your advice, offer your wisdom or your experience, and then release it. Release it to allow them to do what it is that they need to do for themselves in order for them to go through life and experience and grow through what it is that they're dealing with. Now, going back to when you first meet someone, aside from people that we already know, we already care about, and we already love, right? Let's say, for example, someone that you just met. Think about the reasons, and I think this is where I got lost earlier. Think about the reasons why you can relate to someone or why you choose to not relate to someone. More times out of none, we see people and we identify characteristics in them that we either would like to have, right, or we can relate to, and then those are the things that kind of draw us to certain people. And everyone, and I am a firm believer of everyone that's in your life is in your life for a reason. Everyone has been put in the place that they are in your life for a reason. And if you think about that, and you think about even the bad things, the people that you have met that you are like, man, I really didn't like this about that person. Question yourself and ask yourself why. Why did you not like a certain thing about a certain person? Is it because you too are that way? Or is it a reflection of the way that you think? Because we all have ways to reflect on who we are through other people by either the way that we perceive things and the way that we think about things, or the way that we can relate. You see what I'm saying? Are you guys following me? And so I take that and then I add to the equation the things that we don't like about a person. The things that we don't like about a person, and I'm glad Melita is on, and Nicole. So let's say, for example, we are very transparent friends, completely and utterly transparent. There isn't anything that we don't talk to each other about and that we don't share and understand about each other. But we have our moments where we get irritated with each other because that's just normal, right? But why is it normal? It's normal, one, yes, because we care, but oftentimes it's because we do things to each other that we don't like, and the reason why we don't like it, without even thinking about it, it's because we do the same thing. If not to each other, we do it to other people. And you have to really be conscious of who you are and really think about things in a different way to see that. And I challenge myself with that. And I struggle with that sometimes to realize, and I'm like, you know what? The reason why that irritated me is because I know I can be that way. And think about it. Hi, mommy. And I've realized that with my mom, even. Things that I do to her or say to her can irritate her. Well, why? It's because she too is that way. And if we take a moment to reflect on what we see in other people, our reflections in other people, and the mirror that is the invisible mirror that is there, it can change the entire way that you think and process things. Let me go deeper into this rabbit hole now. Let's take, for example, trust issues. A lot of people that have trust issues, it's either because, yes, they've experienced that, or because them to themselves have been in the opposite spectrum of those trust situations, have been untrustworthy. So when you go into a relationship, right? If you go into a relationship and you have this mindset that, oh, I just don't trust people. Every time I seem to get on this video, I end up having a sniffy nose. I don't know why that is. I think it gets chilly in here. So I think that if you think about how many relationships you've had or you've been in where either the other person that you were with had trust issues, or you have trust issues yourself, why is it? It could be a number of reasons. It could be because you have been in relationships where you experienced a trust issue, or because you yourself have been in a situation where you were that untrustworthy person. So subconsciously, you enter into relationships. Hey Jimmy, Military Fresh Network, stay fresh out there. We go into these situations subconsciously with already having trust issues. And you know that saying, if you look, you will find. If you go into a relationship with that, or have been in a relationship with that mindset, because again, back to the way that you think, that's what's going to happen. Eventually, it's going to be something that drags along the relationship, and the other person can be as faithful as can be. But because of that, the way that you think, again, this reflection here, right, is what's going to cause there to be issues. Whereas if you kind of just let that thought process go, or analyze and reflect on why it is you think that way, then you won't see those things in other people. All right, are y'all following me, or did I get y'all lost there? But it's a very challenging thing to do. It's very challenging to look at other people, and instead of looking at them and judging them, to reflect on yourself and why it is you think and feel the way that you think and feel about that person. Yes. What else do I got here? I think I kind of covered a lot of things already. Anybody got anything to say? I know I went really deep, really quick just now. So I did touch on when you meet someone for the first time and you see those good qualities in them, and those are the things that kind of attract you to them, whether it's a friendship or a business relationship or anything for that matter. We see and identify things in other people that we would either like for ourselves, or that we also see in ourselves. And that is another type of reflection that a lot of us don't realize we do. But those are the reasons why we can relate, if that's to say. And that's also part of how we grow individually as a person, because we can then look at other people and see, okay, I like this about this person, I like that about this person, I don't like this about this person. But we never stop to ask ourselves why. And sometimes maybe we do. Maybe we are aware. Maybe we are aware of the people that we meet, and we say, you know what? I can see my reflection in this person because I can see myself where they are. I can see myself. Let's think about fitness pages that we watch, Military Fresh. Let's think about people that we idolize, right? We sit here and we reflect on who we are within these people without even realizing it. And people do it all the time with these shows that they watch, these drama shows, these I don't watch TV, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Housewives shows, or what's another example? Let's go back to like fitness and stuff. I can relate to that. I can look at a fitness page and see people that are doing so many things that I know that I can do, that I will eventually do. And that is why we enjoy that. And that is why that's what makes us connect. It's because we can reflect on who we are and who we want to be when we see these people and these things. And we don't realize that we do that. We don't realize that subconsciously we see ourselves in other people. And those reflections that happen every day and all the time among people that we love, people that we just met, relationships, family members, and sometimes even our parents or our children, we don't realize that we do that subconsciously. And maybe some may be more evident than others, like when you meet someone, you're like, you know what, I can relate to that, I dig that, I can admire this about this person. Let me stay connected with them because you know what, I too one day want to be there. We say all the time, I want to be like you when I grow up. And that's because we can identify things in a person that we enjoy and that we would like to be, or that is going to allow us to grow individually and as a person as well. And the same thing goes for the vice. The same thing goes for the negative things. We can see and identify negative things in people, and subconsciously we're just like, okay, I do that too, and if I do that and it's that annoying or that irritating, then I need to stop. That's a reflection. That is a reflection that we have when we look at someone. And again, a lot of times we don't even realize it. But what we do that we don't realize that is a negative thing is when we get irritated and frustrated, and I touched on this in the beginning, with giving people advice, especially people that we love, advice, and they don't listen to your advice, why it irritates us. And I tie this back into that. And the reason it irritates us is, again, because we see that reflection of ourselves in them. All great points and definite truths. Really enjoy the brief knowledge I heard. Take care. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, so a lot of times we don't realize that the reason why we get frustrated, and Melita and Nicole can vouch for this, and even myself, we get frustrated, and my mom, we get frustrated when the people that we love and care about don't take the advice that we give them. And yes, it's because we care, but most times it's because there are things that we see in their circumstance or in them of ourselves. And so I challenge you guys to, when you feel yourself getting irritated, when someone is not taking your advice, or getting irritated with someone from something that they're doing that is annoying you or upsetting you, instead of releasing that out on them, think about yourself. Think about why it is that whatever it is that they're doing, or whatever it is that they're saying or said, irritates you that much. Is it something personal that is deeper, or is it something that you do yourself, or is it something that you have done? So I challenge you guys to do that, because oftentimes we don't realize that that's the reason why we get so frustrated and so irritated with other people, especially people that we love and people that we care about. And that all ties into your own personal beliefs, and again, the way that you think and the way that you see things and the reasons why. Anybody got anything else? I know, I think I kind of went through this really fast. But yeah, does anyone have anything to say to the contrary? Because again, I'm guilty of it. I'm definitely guilty of it. And we go through it quite often, and it's a very challenging thing to do. It's a very challenging thing to do, but we do it all the time. We reflect on what we see in other people because of what we see in ourselves all the time. And it takes really being conscious of yourself in order to see that and realize that. because we have those strike chords inside of us that are sometimes very faint, but then can be sometimes very loud as well. I'm definitely going to think about this the next time I'm irritated with someone, and you should, Tanisha, and you should, because it's definitely, again, something that I challenge. I'm challenged with myself, because oftentimes, especially when you're irritated, the last thing you're thinking about is it being you and the way that you think about things, instead of just being irritated at the other person. So I definitely challenge you guys to do that, and challenge you to really, the reflection that you see in other people, to see if it's because of yourself and your own conscious thinking, because things would be a lot different if we took things and viewed things that way. And again, I say I challenge myself, and I do it mostly with my daughter. Like, I have to realize and be patient with her, and realize that I see myself in her. So a lot of things that irritate me about her, it's because I know I was once that way. So it allows me to, instead of being irritated with her, to teach her, and to not be upset, but to then look at myself when I see her, and then deal with what it is that situation is accordingly. It may make me lose the irritated feeling I have, because now I will have to think about what's irritated about me. And it should. And that's why I say that it's definitely something that is challenging, because the same example that I gave of my daughter, I can give you with my mom. I gave you one with my friends. I can tell you that, and I don't know if Melita is still on here, I get irritated with things that she does and things that she says and ways that she goes about things. And I have to realize, why? Why do I get irritated? Why does it upset me? Why? It's because I can be that way too. And a lot of times we don't think about that, or we don't realize that. And I hope she realizes that it's the same way with her as well. Because I know it. There are times where you're just like, you ever talk to someone and you're like, why are you getting upset with me about this when you're the same way? Sometimes we realize that in another person, but they don't realize it in themselves at that moment, because they're not seeing themselves in you, but yet they are subconsciously, because that's why they're upset. I don't know if y'all were following me there, but yeah. So definitely challenge you guys with that. Definitely hope that I kind of gave a little bit of insight as to how we have reflections of ourselves in other people, and how you can see yourself in almost everyone and anyone around you that you first met, your family members, your loved ones, your kids, your parents, your friends, your husband, your wife. I challenge you guys to really think about that, especially when, because it's easy to do that with good things. Like, that's easy, but it's more challenging to do that with things that upset you or that you dislike. So I think I hit on everything that I wanted to hit on. I think I dove way into that. I didn't even need to look at my notes, but I think I did a lot of talking. I have to leave, but thank you, and I'll catch the rest later. No, it's a problem. We're wrapping it up here. I think I kind of hit on all the points that I wanted to hit on. I didn't really get a lot of feedback today. I think a lot of people are kind of stuck, and that's okay, because, again, it's challenging for me as well. But you could definitely watch this later on. It's going to be on the Facebook group page, Mo Talks, and I also upload all the videos to YouTube. I definitely drop that link on the Facebook page. So without further ado, if you guys don't have anything else to say or anything to chime in and say, I just want to say thank you guys again for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See y'all on the next talk.